Married to a cold, emotionless alpha. He didn't like me, he hated being touched by me. If I said more than a couple of sentences, he'd instantly get that stony look. And then, I suddenly saw a string of danmaku-style comments floating across my vision. Baby, stop giving him treats, if he snaps, your eyes might roll back for real. Didn't you see the old man's eyes turning red at the corners? With a sweet little omega like you, even Hudson's gonna lose it. He must be losing his mind right now. 1. Lately, everyone in our circle had been talking. That cold-faced CEO Hudson had become a completely different person after getting married. You know how it is, Nash said on the phone, imitating Hudson's voice. I'm a married man now. Got a wife who keeps me on a short leash. No choice, she makes me be home by 7 sharp. Otherwise, she'll throw a fit. Nash laughed loudly at his own impersonation. Mason, you've really got him trained well. What's your secret? Teach me, man. I was lying on the bed in our bedroom, feeling a little down. But I've never told him to be home by 7. Do you think he might have another omega out there? Hudson didn't like me. Actually, he seemed to hate me. Nash tried to comfort me. Mason, you're overthinking it. That's what being whipped looks like. Come on, who else in our entire social circle comes home at 7 every night, rain or shine? He cancels all his dinners and parties just to be with you. Is that really true? Suddenly, I heard the front door open, sharp and clear. I sat up in bed in an instant and straightened my clothes. Nash, I'll call you back. I think he's home. I quickly pulled on a shirt and ran out. Hudson was by the front door, changing his shoes. I ran up to him excitedly, face tilted up with a smile. You're back. Hudson replied coldly, yeah. I reached out to take his bag. He dodged away instantly. I've got it. Watching his hand avoid mine made my heart sink a little. Okay. Then what do you feel like eating tonight? I'll tell the housekeeper. Anything's fine. I really liked Hudson. It was the instinct of an omega to want to be close to their alpha. He finished changing and walked deeper into the house, and I followed close behind, trying to chat. Suddenly, he stopped. I walked right into his back. And caught a faint whiff of his scent. It was amber. Cool, refined, and with the earthy warmth of resin and wood. I couldn't help but sniff again. His scent was really nice. Hudson frowned and looked irritated. Don't stand so close to me. I froze. And just watched as he walked straight into his study. Since we got married, we'd never been physically close. Hudson always kept his distance. He even slept in the guest room every night. Watching his cold back disappear, I felt a stinging in my nose. That familiar ache of holding back tears. My heat was coming next week. Hudson hated me so much. He definitely wouldn't help me through it. If he disliked me this much, why even agree to a political marriage? 2. I skipped dinner and cried into my pillow in the bedroom. Nash, sniff. I'm so sad. Hudson's way too mean to me. How can he be like this? He puts on a show for everyone else, pretending to be the perfect husband. But when he's with me, he's so cold. I mean, I'm a top-tier omega, graduated from a prestigious university, pampered by my family since I was little. I'm good-looking, with a great body, why doesn't he like me? Nash was fuming. He really treats you like that? What a hypocrite. Mason, it's fine, if he doesn't like you, whatever. I do. I'm your biggest fan in the whole world. Nash and I grew up together. He was an omega too, and we were super close. I sent him an air kiss through the phone. Nash, I love you most too. Just then, there was a knock on the door, twice. I turned around and saw Hudson standing there. Surely a CEO like him wouldn't be eavesdropping, right? What is it? I just came to grab something. His eyes scanned the room quickly. When he saw me, the tips of his ears flushed red. Then he quickly turned his head away. I followed his gaze and looked down at myself. Oh no. I was lying on the bed in a sloppy position. My white tank top had ridden up to my waist. And I was wearing super short, loose pajama shorts. Even though we were married, I felt suddenly embarrassed. Hudson walked over to the cabinet, grabbed something random, and made a quick escape. I was mortified and buried my face in the sheets. It was too hot to wear much at night. But I hadn't expected him to come in right then. Would he hate me even more now? That's when the danmaku messages reappeared. Baby, stop spoiling him. If he snaps, you'll end up with your eyes rolling back. Didn't you see how red the corners of his eyes got? With a sweet omega like you, Hudson's definitely losing it. I need a POV from Hudson right now. These messages suddenly floated into my view again. In broad daylight, no less. And they were even more explicit than the encrypted files Nash sends me. My cheeks turned red just reading them. 3. A few minutes later, Hudson called out from the doorway. Mason, come out for a late-night snack. I got up, confused, and slipped on my clothes before walking out. I saw Arya, the housekeeper, cheerfully bringing over a bowl of porridge from the kitchen. Sir noticed you didn't eat dinner earlier. Figured it might be because of the heat, so he asked me to make you some seafood claypot porridge. See if you like it. If not, I can cook something else. How did Hudson know I liked seafood porridge? Thank you, Arya. I really do like this. Danmaku-style comments floated by. Hudson must have been so anxious when he realized his baby didn't eat dinner. Without his wife, even food tasted bland. Bet he Googled, what to do if your wife suddenly skips dinner. I couldn't help glancing over at Hudson on the couch. Caught off guard, our eyes met. His gaze was tender and doting, he didn't even have time to hide it. Hudson quickly looked away and pretended to focus on his phone. Danmaku. Caught red-handed. The love-struck stalker got busted watching his baby eat. LOL, the second-hand embarrassment is real. Even Mason's way of eating is adorable. Let's form a squad and kidnap him. I'm a sucker for doting, low-key love. Hudson is killing me. He's like a stealth ninja with the world's prettiest wife beside him, and he only dares sneak glances. I nearly choked on my porridge. Okay, I admit, I am good-looking. But what was going on with Hudson? Didn't he hate me? He hadn't even looked at the drawing I gave him before. I'd never even been in the guest room where he slept. Because he didn't allow it. The next morning, Hudson called me. He'd forgotten an important document at home. Could you bring it to the office for me? If you're busy, I can have my assistant pick it up. No, it's fine. I've got nothing on today anyway. Thanks, I appreciate it. No problem. Even though we were married, Hudson still talked to me like that. So polite. So distant. It didn't feel like we were spouses. More like boss and subordinate. The moment I stepped into Hudson's company, curious gazes followed me. His assistant was already waiting at the entrance. Hi, this is the file Hudson left at home. I planned to drop it off and leave. But the assistant didn't take it. This file's really important, I don't have the clearance to accept it. Please take it to Mr. Hudson's office directly. Alright then. I stood next to the assistant waiting for the elevator. He was treating me with the utmost respect. It didn't take long for other employees to figure out who I was. We finally get to see the famous wife, so pretty. Ugh, he's like a soft little marshmallow omega. I used to think it was exaggerated, the way Hudson kept him hidden from us. But now that I've seen him, man, I just wish I were Hudson. I'd flaunt him like crazy. With a wife like that, I wouldn't even leave the house. Hudson coming home at 7 every night? Too mild. I'd be home by 5. I gave them a friendly smile and walked into the elevator amid a flurry of tiny gasps. From their whispers, I picked up one piece of gossip. Apparently, Hudson had a first love, a so-called white moonlight. But their scent compatibility was too low, so they were forced to part. Hudson, the man who treated everyone so indifferently, had actually liked someone before. Our marriage was mainly arranged because our scent compatibility was high. So, if he met someone else with an even higher compatibility, would he just toss me aside? 4. Hudson's office was on the 32nd floor. When I arrived, he was still in a meeting. The assistant led me there, then left. I wandered around Hudson's office alone. And then I saw the painting I had made for him, Spring Sakura by the river. I'd assumed he'd thrown it away. But he had it framed and hung right in the most obvious spot. The only thing on that blank white wall. All he had to do was lift his eyes from his desk to see it. And there was also a photo on his desk, of the two of us. I looked like I was 20 in the picture. Hudson looked young too. Both of us smiling awkwardly at the camera. I didn't even remember when we'd taken it. Danmaku comments floated up again. It's obviously photoshopped, lol. Hudson secretly commissioned someone to edit it. He stares at it like a treasure. Looks at it 100 times a day. Sigh, Hudson really hides things deep. Loved him for 10 years, finally married him, and still doesn't dare to hold his hand. Baby, when will you realize? He's been in love with you since 10 years ago. Now I understood. Not all love is fiery and bold. Some love is buried so deep it becomes fear. Fear of moving forward. A few minutes later, Hudson rushed in. He was clearly out of breath, probably ran all the way back. Mason, I didn't keep you waiting too long, did I? I'm sorry for making you come all this way. From outside, his assistant called out. Wait, Hudson. The meeting's not over yet. Hudson replied in a low voice. We'll continue another time. He turned and shut the door. Now it was just the two of us. And that supposedly important file. I couldn't help but ask. Hudson, what's with the painting? Hudson glanced at it uncomfortably. Nothing. I liked it, so I hung it up. I kept pushing. And the photo? Owen and the others messed around with it. Don't pay it any mind. If you don't like it, I'll toss it later. Poor Owen, he was Hudson's most loyal friend. Now he was being used as a scapegoat. Watching Hudson lie with a straight face, I couldn't help but laugh. Can you send me a copy? I want one too. Hudson's eyes lit up instantly. Honestly, he probably wanted to take a real photo together even more. 5. Danmaku suddenly flashed. Is the long-awaited office play finally happening? Omega's scent suppression patch failing, triggering Alpha to lose control, and soon enough, bam bam bam, they'll forget everything. Today's the sweet little Omega secretary and the cold, abstinent CEO Alpha. Reading these comments, I suddenly remembered, I'd forgotten to change my scent suppression patch before coming to deliver Hudson's file. An idea immediately popped into my head. I looked up at the tall Alpha in front of me, looking as helpless as I could. My Alpha. Hudson, I was in such a rush leaving today that I forgot to switch my scent suppression patch. My arm's feeling a little weak and uncomfortable now. Could you help me put on a new one? Hudson stared at me in disbelief. You want me to help you? There was a trace of cautious surprise in his voice. I asked back. You're my husband, why wouldn't you? This kind of thing should be your responsibility anyway. If I hadn't said anything, you probably wouldn't have made the first move. Alright, I'll be more proactive next time. Usually calm and self-controlled, Hudson swallowed hard. His gaze flickered to the slightly red, warm patch on the back of my neck, and suddenly his expression turned urgent and hungry. His nose was filled with the rich, sweet scent of gardenia flowers. Hudson wanted to bite hard, to completely claim the Omega before him. Suddenly I said, "Be gentle, I'm a little sensitive." Hudson's voice was husky. Okay. When his warm fingertip touched my gland, I trembled softly. When he finished, Hudson looked even more disheveled than me. His palm and forehead were slick with a thin layer of sweat. His ears were flushed red the entire time. Just like the danmaku said, he was struggling to keep himself in check. Before leaving, I quickly kissed his cheek. Before he could react, I was already at the office door. Thanks, husband. I'm heading out. Remember to be home by 7 tonight. I'll be waiting for you at home. Okay. Joy exploded in Hudson's eyes, and the corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably into a grin. Danmaku went wild. Who gets it? The alpha is totally lost in hearing husband again and again. Everyone wants a sweet little omega calling them husband. I want one too. Baby wife, I'm here, your extra-dimensional husband never leaves the house. 6. Hudson used to be a workaholic. Lately, the thing he looked forward to most was coming home after work. Even when he had social events, he stuck to his 7 o'clock rule. Mason, I'm home. Hudson hugged me as soon as we met. He smelled of alcohol, but he was still clear-headed. I helped him to the guest room to sleep. Even though I knew Hudson liked me, I still hesitated before fully accepting it. What if all those danmaku comments were lies? I pushed open the guest room door and immediately noticed the pale green plaid shirt on the bed. Next to it was a familiar little lamb pillow. I'd heard that during an alpha's heat period, they obsessively collect their omega's clothes and pillows to build a nest. In this first month of marriage, Hudson had been acting pretty normal. Arya said his heat period was over. Maybe he didn't need me at all. Maybe those clothes weren't even mine. I quickly turned away, pretending not to notice anything. If I didn't see it, I wouldn't get hurt or sad. Hudson's face was bright red, from his neck all the way to behind his ears. He stepped forward. Wife. Mason, I'm sorry. I have to confess, I was feeling terrible at the time. I couldn't help myself and was scared you'd freak out, so I secretly took one of your shirts you never wear. The shirt was mine. Danmaku. Isn't that the Omega's shirt from 2 years ago? It's still kept all this time. Love-struck alpha, it has to be you. That shirt probably isn't clean anymore. What happened to it only Hudson knows. Dark, unbearable nights curled up alone under blankets, hugging a shirt soaked in his wife's scent. Reading those comments, I suddenly remembered that I did have that shirt. Bought it shopping with Nash, barely wore it, and then threw it away, but apparently Hudson picked it up. I didn't even know him 2 years ago. How did he sneakily get hold of my shirt? Knowing Hudson liked me made me impatient. I looked him straight in the eyes. Hudson, I want the truth. Do you like me? The first love was in the past, I didn't care. What mattered was if he still liked me now. I do, Hudson answered without hesitation. Then he shook his head. No, I love you. Mason, I love you. Every word Mason spoke was firm and loud, like thunder. Hudson cautiously peeked at my reaction. I hadn't noticed before, but his eyes always held admiration and love when looking at me. I stared back, drinking in all the love Hudson gave. How did you get the shirt? Funny story, one day I happened to be passing your building. A gust of wind blew your shirt off the balcony and right onto my head. How did you know it was yours? I'd forgotten myself. With so many clothes in the closet, I barely remembered that rarely worn shirt. Hudson blinked and whispered. Because it smelled like your scent. My scent was white gardenia. It was normal for some to linger on the fabric. I never expected the seemingly proper man to be so obsessed. Sniffing my clothes in secret. But I liked it. 7. Then why were you so cold to me before? You obviously liked me, yet you kept pushing me away. If not for danmaku, I never would have known. I might have thought he hated me forever. Hudson was about to answer when Nash called. I had no choice but to pick up, leaving Hudson hanging. Nash, what's wrong? Nash's voice was shaky with tears. Mason, your brother's really impossible. It's already 9 p.m., and he still hasn't come home. Don't know which party he's at. Not answering calls or messages, he's deliberately avoiding me. I quickly comforted him. Don't worry. I'll message him now. Nash had a complicated relationship with my brother Weston. He'd chased Weston for a long time, and finally they were together. But Nash's jealousy and controlling side had grown stronger. He was always scared some Omega outside would steal Weston away. Weston, on the other hand, used to be quite a player. I'd warned Nash many times, but to no avail. Reluctantly, I took out my phone and messaged Weston. Big brother, where are you? Nash says he can't reach you and even called me. Weston replied quickly. By the front door. Waiting for 2 hours. I shouldn't interfere too much in their affairs. Just as I put my phone down, Hudson appeared beside me with a tired look. Hudson, what's wrong? 8. Hudson looked at me with hurt eyes, his silent plea clear as day. Mason, you've never said such intimate things to me before. I know there's someone else in your heart. I've been trying not to bother you, but could you please leave me just one place? I just want to stay by your side, under any name, even if you can't call me husband, it's okay. That night, he must have heard some of my conversation with Nash. But only parts of it, especially the line. Nash, I love you too. Danmaku. Hudson finally woke up, but he's so humble, ah. Did he misunderstand? That was the Omega's sweet words to Nash. Is Hudson jealous? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His eyes were red when he spoke, looking especially pitiful. I couldn't help but ruffle his hair. That's my friend, my best friend since childhood, of course we're close. First, he's an Omega. Second, he's with my brother. Now can you explain why you were so cold to me before? Drunk Hudson was surprisingly direct and chatty. He started rambling answers to my questions. I avoided you before because I was afraid I'd scare you. I love you so much I can't bear it, and I've been trying to control myself. Everyone else has a wife looking after them. They get calls telling them to come home. Me? Even if I drink until midnight, no one cares. I'm a poor alpha without a loving wife. I thought you didn't willingly marry me. Someone as wonderful as Mason, why would she choose me? Danmaku spammed. Self-doubt is the best dowry for a man. Hudson, do you know tears are an aphrodisiac for wives? Cry more, soon it'll be the wife crying. Suspect someone's shipping hard here, no evidence though. Hudson's face was the most handsome I'd ever seen. His eyes rimmed red, shimmering with tears, full of deep affection as he looked at me. It made my heart flutter, like soft feathers gently brushing over it. Hudson, have I told you I like you too? I agreed to marry you because I like you. I want to be close to you every day because I like you. I asked you to help me with the scent patch because I like you. I call you husband because I like you. 9. Before I finished, warm lips pressed against mine. Hudson's kiss was gentle but overwhelming, impossible to resist. Our mouths tangled fiercely. My defenses crumbled bit by bit, my consciousness blurred while our heartbeats thundered loudly in my ears. Baby, I really like you. Hudson's sexy voice whispered deep into my soul from my left ear. I couldn't help but reply. Me too. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Sir, the sobering soup is ready. Ah, sorry sir, I'm leaving now, I didn't see anything. Aunt Aria screamed and slammed the door shut. I looked up at Hudson, clearly stirred, and raised an eyebrow. Continue? This was my first kiss with Hudson. His Adam's apple bobbed, and the desire in his eyes deepened. In a husky voice, he said, Baby, if we keep going, we'll really be husband and wife. We didn't go any further. Hudson and I each went to a separate bathroom. Danmaku. What's there that our precious members can't see? Bang 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 bang. Please continue. I'll pay you 100 diamonds. Awesome, black room plot, we're doomed. In the end, Hudson silently hugged his pillow and moved back to the master bedroom. The next day, Nash invited me out to a new seafood restaurant. When we met, I found out he and Weston had fought again. Nash vented non-stop. All alphas are the same, once they're mad, they act like strangers. They used to spoil me, now they don't care at all, especially in bed. Mason, you haven't been completely used up by that fake guy, right? I shook my head. Of course not. Though we were almost done, just one step left. When Nash lowered his head, his collar slipped down and I caught a glimpse of his neck. Red marks dotted his skin, a sign of an intense battle. I pointed. Are those mosquito bites on your neck? Nash thought for a moment, sighed dramatically. It's a long story. Actually, it was a super handsome mosquito, about 6 feet 1 inch. I played along. That's impressive. They exchanged a smile. How could I not understand? He was a total Lucist and would compromise on anything for Weston's absolute beauty. Nash sipped his chilled watermelon juice through a straw and said, I'm planning to stay silent outside for 3 days so he can taste what it feels like to be unreachable. Do you think I'm being too much? Will he hate me later? Before I could answer, he changed his mind. Forget it, 3 days is too long, 2 days. No, 1 day. I smiled helplessly. Okay, whatever you do, I support you. The delicate Omega smiled warmly and opened his phone, showing me a photo. Let's go to the beach. I already booked a hotel, great location. I heard there's a really hot street singer there, famous online. You'll come with me, right? Definitely. 10. That night, I stayed with Nash in a sea view room. I got a message from Weston, asking where Nash was. Those two were truly made for each other. I sent him the location. Only poor Hudson came home promptly at 7 and found his wife missing. He'd been stolen by the person he once insanely jealous of. I messaged to comfort him. Boo-hoo, husband, wait for me. I'll be back in a couple of days. I'm just out with Nash relaxing. Hudson sent a crying emoji. Okay. What's a home without you? I couldn't sleep at all tonight. Last night was the first time he'd slept in the master bedroom since moving in. Excited, he couldn't fall asleep all night. His arms held his alluring wife, fragrant and warm. But Hudson couldn't touch her. He quietly went to the bathroom many times during the night. But today, he had nothing left, only the cold bed and the vanished wife. Mason, who are you texting? Nash returned with a coconut and handed me one. Hudson. He's a fake jerk, don't listen to him. Okay. Half an hour later, Weston showed up. Mason, Nash. I nodded at the tall, mature alpha. Big brother. Weston was adopted by my parents. When he was 10, my mom got pregnant with me. The late-born child in the family, I'd been spoiled since childhood. But my parents treated Weston just as well, never neglecting him because he was adopted. Besides, he'd managed the family's future assets. I just wanted to live a carefree life. Paint a little, eat some sweets. 11. After leaving the area to the two of them, I walked aside to look around. I wanted to see just how handsome this wandering singer Nash had talked about really was. At a street corner, suddenly 2 alphas blocked my path. They wore ripped denim jackets, with a row of blue tattoos on their arms. They looked sneaky and very ugly. Where did this pretty Omega come from, all alone outside? Big brothers will keep you company. And she's unmarked? Brothers, we're lucky tonight. I'd never encountered a scene like this. Frowning, I shouted. Get lost. You'd better leave fast. My friend's coming soon. The tall alpha smiled maliciously. Perfect. Your friend's probably an Omega too, right? We saw just now, she's probably off having fun, no time for you. They had clearly been following me all the way here. I kept calm on the surface but was panicking inside. Quietly, I called both Hudson and Nash. Estimating their strength difference, my chance of winning if a fight broke out was only 20%. Danmaku flashed. Keep your dirty hands off our sweet Omega. Hudson's on his way, baby, stall until he arrives. Two disgusting jerks, drag them out and cut them down. Seeing the comments, I finally felt reassured. Speak. What do you want to let me go? Money? I can give you any amount. The alpha's slimy, disgusting eyes locked on me. Do we look like we need money? The air filled with a metallic, corrosive scent, strong and aggressive. He released his pheromones. I tried to run but my body heated up and my limbs went weak. You're so disgusting. The foul pheromones kept pressing on me, making my mind foggy and every cell screamed discomfort. If this continued, I'd likely be induced into heat by the alphas. The tall alpha stepped closer. Just as his hand reached for me, someone kicked him hard in the stomach, sending him backward. Mason, are you okay? It was Hudson. Hearing his voice, I relaxed and melted weakly into his arms. Hudson, you're finally here. Hudson had rushed over as soon as he learned our location, hoping to surprise me. Thankfully, he arrived in time. 12. Under the influence of the alpha pheromones, I was forced into an early heat. Hudson took me to the nearest hotel. Mason, hold on. I'll have the suppressant sent up right away. Clinging to Hudson, my rational mind drowned in burning heat, craving more. Hudson. You're my legal partner. I'm struggling. I need you. Hudson released calming pheromones, easing me slightly, but I still felt awful. Mark me, Hudson. Hudson tensed, controlling his strength carefully. Mason, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I'll try to be gentle, okay? Tell me if you're uncomfortable. 3 days later. The room was thick with a sweet, rich gardenia scent mixed with amber. The terrible heat finally passed. I lay asleep in Hudson's arms, peaceful. Hudson gently traced my face with his fingers, looking content. 10 years, it had taken him 10 years to fully claim this Omega. Every inch of me smelled like him, inside and out. This feeling filled him with satisfaction. He didn't feel tired, in fact, he was highly energized. If needed, he could fight for another 3 days straight. He just worried I might not be able to handle it. The danmaku had gone dark these days, filled only with restricted content. 13. Afterwards, Nash still felt very guilty. Mason, I'm sorry. It's all my fault you almost got hurt. I comforted him. Don't blame yourself. I'm fine, aren't I? If anyone's to blame, it's those two alphas. They're the ones who should apologize to me. In this society, omegas are legally protected. Violence against an omega is a very serious crime. Even if the assault is attempted and not completed, those two alphas were arrested and punished by law. Nash's eyes reddened. If I hadn't insisted you go there, and if Weston hadn't left, none of this would have happened. It really was an accident. It wasn't Nash's fault, I never wanted to blame them. He winked slyly at me. As compensation, I sent you a huge gift pack. It should arrive tomorrow. What is it? I had a bad feeling. Nash was secretive and wouldn't say. You'll know tomorrow. I forgot about it and went straight to my studio the next day. I had opened a small painting studio and became a relaxed boss. The gift Nash sent arrived at my house and was signed for by Hudson. That night, when I got home and saw the overly conspicuous package, my face immediately flushed bright red. The title gave away the contents, things too inappropriate to mention. I tried to hide the box with my body. This is. Nash made a mistake with the address. I'll send it back tomorrow. Hudson looked at me leisurely. Really? Wanna try it tonight? I froze, asking dryly. Try what? Hudson's lips curved into a slight smile. Can't let his thoughtfulness go to waste. Danmaku. Hee, what are they going to do? Hard to guess. Report, familiar black room plot detected. After waking up, Hudson wants to stick to his wife 24/7. If only they could stay inside forever. At this rate and frequency, the kid will be crawling by next year. Donated 24 boxes. Same as above. Damn Nash. 14. Owen called while I was painting on the balcony. Sister-in-law, hurry. Hudson's in trouble. I immediately put down my brush and rushed to Hudson's company. Hudson had been in a meeting when suddenly his pheromones went out of control. He was now in a manic state and would only accept my calming scent. After restraining him, I asked Owen. Why did this happen? He's always been fine before. Owen hesitated, unwilling to answer. Ask him when he wakes up. I frowned at him. We're married. He's never told me this before. Do you think he'd tell me voluntarily? I'm his legal partner. I have the right to know, and only by understanding the details can I handle it better. Owen finally gave in. He had surgery before, gland replacement. Hudson had undergone gland transplant surgery to better match his pheromones with mine. Hearing this, an indescribable feeling surged inside me. How much else had Hudson been hiding from me? 15. When Hudson woke up, he looked a bit lost seeing my unhappy expression. Owen, what's going on? Did you upset your sister-in-law again? Owen chuckled nervously. Hudson, I promise I didn't say anything. After sending Owen out, it was just Hudson and me in the office. Remembering the rumors I'd heard earlier about his white moonlight, someone he secretly loved, I had an idea. Hudson, people say there's someone you liked deeply, a white moonlight. Is that true? I heard you two separated because your pheromones didn't match. Was that person me? Hudson hurried to explain. No, that's not true. The only person I've ever liked is you. There's no white moonlight. If there was, it would be you. You know, I've liked you since I was 18. Our first meeting was in a park outside the city. Nash and I were having a picnic. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom. I set up my drawing board under a tree and sketched casually. A quiet boy passed by under the cherry blossoms. I quietly drew his back. That was when Hudson fell for me at first sight, starting a 10-year secret crush. But I never recognized him. While chatting with Nash, we talked about future partners. Of course, I want an alpha whose pheromones match mine well, and who loves me very, very much. Hudson secretly did a pheromone match test. Our score was very low. Because of a casual comment I made, he risked surgery, just to improve his pheromone match with me. That person. Hudson, are you crazy? I like you because you're you. I wouldn't stop liking you just because our pheromones don't match. Because it's you, I'm willing. This is already the best outcome. As I spoke, tears rolled down my cheeks. Landing heavily on Hudson's hand, wet and warm. He gently pulled me into his embrace. Mason, my wife, I love you. I'm willing to do anything for you. What a fool. 16. Later, Nash and Weston had a cute baby. They often showed the child off to me. Hudson appeared calm but was secretly jealous. At night, he sneaked into my bed. Wife, let's have a baby too. I'm jealous every day of the kids my brothers have. Someone like you would be the best, a lovely omega. Okay. A year later. David. Please stop crying. Daddy still wants to sleep. I'll earn money for your formula tomorrow, okay? Wah wah wah. The baby's cries grew louder. Hudson felt overwhelmed. When David was older and started walking, he was especially clingy with me. Daddy. Daddy. Hudson frowned. You go over there. This is my wife. Don't fight me for her. David was a mini version of Hudson, an alpha, looking and acting like him. His chubby little hands were on his hips. I won't. I want Daddy. As David grew, he often ran over to Nash's house. Nash and my brother's child was named Ryan. Tests showed Ryan was a beta. But Ryan was always a cool kid, loved dancing, dressed sharply and stylishly. Other kids liked to follow him around. Especially David. Every day, wearing pink overalls, he'd run breathlessly after Ryan. "Ryan, wait for me. Ryan." Watching the kids run off, Hudson and I smiled at each other. And so, our story came to a proper close.